I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, September the 16th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is a generic Draxxin or Talithromycin injection that is a bold, straight shooter, and it does what it's supposed to do for you, for your cattle, and most importantly for your bottom line. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards, another big sale for them. Going to be starting at 5 a.m., which is kind of late for them, but they'll be starting on some smaller deals. They'll be working up to some bigger groups probably by 7, but they are expecting around 8,000 head of cattle for their Monday feeder cattle auction. Coming up, the next special cow sale is going to be on October the 2nd, which will be on a Wednesday following the weigh-up sale there. But check out Joplin Regional Stockyards at joplinstockyards.com. If you want to watch their sales on sale day, go on to DVAuction.com and select Joplin Sales. Are there any bulls on the horizon? We feel like this last year, the market, we saw all these bullish fundamentals, and of course the market's been getting better for the last 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden the market just got tired of being higher and kind of just ignored our bullish fundamentals and started retreating. Well, yes and no. Maybe our bullish fundamentals didn't come through quite as strong as what we thought. You know, last year we thought that beef production was going to be down around 9%. This year. Last year we thought it'd be down about 9% this year because there were less cattle around. We knew that as we had a smaller cow herd, and we were just going to have less cattle, less beef on the market. But actually it come out this year that beef production is up about 1%. And we talked about those several weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago maybe, about the ghost cattle. But most of it was due to beef imports, a lot of that breastfed stuff coming from South America and places. Our imports have been up 16%. A lot of it because of the heavy carcasses. The carcasses are so much heavier. We've raised the average dressed steer carcass weight about 23 pounds. Well, that makes up a lot of tonnage right there. So, you know, the packers were able to lead a carrot in front of the feeders and get them to make cattle bigger to help them out. Of course, most of them are well established in those other countries where they're importing the beef from. We've been getting a lot more feeder cattle from south of the border. They've been going through, like a 100-year drought down there. Guys sent me video of an auction market in Chihuahua. I'm not exactly where it was at, but appeared to be down in there a long ways. And the pickups and trailers were lined up similar to the way they were here a couple years ago when it was so dry in North Texas and in Central Texas, whenever they just had, mile-long lines of pickups and trailers. So they've been going through that. Yeah, they're going to bring a lot of cattle over anyway, but because the market was so good, but mainly because of such a severe drought they've had in the states of Mexico just south of the border, is one reason we've been getting so many of those cattle. And now they haven't all been ready, of course, or ready for slaughter, so it hadn't made that big of an impact on our beef for this year. But they'll be coming up this next year. Do we have any bulls on the horizon? Well, there'll be even fewer calves coming to get fed out this fall. So, and how do we know that? Because our cow numbers are down again. So that's going to be tighter supplies of feeder cattle, tighter supplies of all classes of cattle, and we don't know how much more imported beef they're going to bring in, but they're going to need those high dollar cuts, the rib loins and things like that. So they're not getting that stuff in South America. They might be getting some of it. It's not feeding our high-end market up here, and it's not feeding the high-end market that we export. We get those best cuts and those ribeye steaks and things like that right here domestically. But what the question is, how much bigger can we make the carcasses? Are we going to gain another 20-25 pounds on our average steer carcass weight next year compared to now? I don't know. I mean, you see some really big cattle. I mean, you know, there's some farmer feeders. I was talking to some guys up in North Dakota last week, sold some big fats weighed 1830. And that's bigger than the average. It's making those 922, 925 pound carcasses. But are we going to average another 20 to 25 pounds on our steers? That's hard to believe that we would do that. So likely we're going to be down next year on our beef production. Now I know it doesn't really fit our 10-year cycle, and it may throw a wrench into things a little bit, but I think we still have several things to be bullish about. I think some of these cow-calf producers are going to be forced to keep some heifers back this round because they're running out of them. Of course, I'm sure they've cut pretty deep on culling their old cows because the cow market's been so good for the last year or so. And if they want to stay in business and keep their numbers up, they're going to have to keep some heifers back. And you think, well, the cow market's come off of their highs. They have come off some. It takes a hell of a cow to bring $1.50 live price, $1.50 a pound. Most of them bringing in the 130s up to 140 there. And we don't see very many $2 bulls anymore like we did 2 or 3 months ago. We're starting to see more cows. I mean, we've had a lot fewer of them because the numbers are just down. But it's the time of year where they're bringing those in. They're weaning calves. They're preg testing the cows. And then they'll be bringing a lot of those open cows in just seasonally. So there should be bigger numbers of available cows for cow slaughter, beef cow slaughter here going through the bulk of the fall here. But I was talking to Greg Nichols out there in Pennsylvania. He said those really extremely high dressing bulls and high boning percentage bulls are still bringing way over $2 a pound back east, guys. He told me about a bull like a Piedmontese, which is one of those double muscle bulls, and those are the ones that's been bringing over $2 a pound for the most part, bring like $2.57. I mean, it's just unbelievable what they'll bring, but they need that extra lean bull meat to mix with those fat cows. And then some of your small packers, like bologna packers and ethnic groups there, they like to have that really extremely lean bull meat too to make some of their different dishes that they have. But we're still selling the cows pretty high. But you know, I think we still have some fundamental bullishness out there. You know, it seems like the board kind of gave up on this higher market and started pushing down, you know, 6 weeks or 2 months ago. But this past week, your board was up really nice. You know, our October feeder cattle were up over $8 on the CME. December fats were up nearly $4. And it didn't really feel like we had that support. Seems like we die by the board, we die by the board. We don't ever get to take advantage of the board when it's coming up. But it was pretty good. We saw that our northern cattle feeders, they stuck their boot heels in the sand there and wouldn't give up. Finally, on Friday, made packers give a little bit more than they did a week ago for the best fat cattle, especially on a dress basis, which is where most of your extremely high quality cattle go. Saw a lot of those dress cattle bring as much as $6 higher than the previous week. So that makes us feel good. We've gotten over the free fall of the fat market. Now, if we could kind of bounce in here about steady or gain a few dollars here and there, it would be great. But still, our October, which is spot live cattle futures, still trading down there around 177.5. Where our live fat cattle market's not way over 180, but it's well over 180 there. But don't forget about the Ranchers for Trump roping and rally that's going to be in Fallon, Nevada on September the 28th, guys. And he's looking for donations and help with this, and people that want to support it all over, and he's getting it from all over. But we want to make this thing as big as we can. If you guys are ropers, get out there and sign up for that roping. They're having a muley roping, having a breakaway roping. They're going to have a calf branding. Get in there and do that. Also, he's found a trucker there, and I think he's got the coolest tailgate on his truck ever. But check out this bull hauler here. He is going to be making a trip out early that week, which would be next week, going out to South Dakota, and he's going to be coming back from South Dakota through them northern plains and mountain states, guys. And if you've got some cattle that you would like to donate to the Trump auction, we're going to be auctioning off cattle. I think we had about 200 head, or maybe 250 that were donated 4 years ago when we had that. But if you've got some cattle you would like to donate to that, he will pick those cattle up along the way. Get a hold of him at Nevada Livestock Marketing, or call Jack Payne. Tell him where you've got some cattle. If you can kind of get them to an easy to pick up place like a fairground or something like that, that would be great. And he could pick those cattle up to auction off on Saturday evening following the Trump rally there at Nevada Livestock Marketing. All the proceeds for selling those cattle will go to the Trump 47 campaign there, guys. But going to be a lot of stuff going on. Just come out. I mean, I guarantee you'll have a good time. They're going to have a big feeder cattle auction special on Friday the 27th. I'm going to come out and help sell that, hang around for the rally and the Trump sale and everything. If you've got items that are not cattle that you would like to donate, we're going to be auctioning those off immediately following the rally before we go in and sell the Trump cattle. And all that money will be raised for the Trump campaign. Nevada is a battleground state, and he's got to win that, guys, before they kill him. Tried killing him again over the weekend, and this time they've got the guy and he's still alive. I wonder if that's making anybody nervous. The last goofy kid that they had, of course they knew they were going to take him out. They took him out whether or not he hit Trump or not. He did hit him, but he didn't kill him. But they took him out. It makes you wonder who talked him into doing that. I wonder if somebody saw that he was a goofy and maybe saw that he was a pretty good shot and offered him some money to do that. We'll never know. And they've kind of quit investigating it apparently, because we don't hear anything more about it. But we've got this guy. So where did he get the desire to do such a thing? Let's talk about your board for last week. October live cattle futures. Monday was up 175, Tuesday down 60, Wednesday was up 62, Thursday was up $1.07, and Friday down just 37 cents, with October live cattle futures ending the week at 177.62, up $1.90 for the week. December live cattle 178.50, up $3.80 for the week. September feeder cattle up every day but Friday, and then Friday not down very much, but big gains on your spot feeder cattle futures. Monday was up $3.42, Tuesday up 75 cents, Wednesday up $2.07, Thursday up $1.50, Friday down just 15 cents with your September feeder cattle futures ending the week at $241.90, up $7.60 for the week. October ended the week at $239.12, up $8.17. Look at your grains. December corn ended the week at $413.25. That was 7 cents higher for the week. November beans ended the week at $10.0625, up just 1 1/4 cents a bushel. And December hard red winter wheat ended the week at $6 a bushel smooth. That was up 22.5 cents a bushel. Your fat cattle trade up through Thursday of last week, only 12,300 head. Nothing. Live prices of fat steers and heifers in your 5 area feeding region negotiated ranged from 180 to 182. That was kind of uneven, from $1 higher on the low side to $3 lower on the top side. Your weighted average up through Thursday was 180.75, which was 43 cents lower than the previous week's weighted average. Your dress sales ranged from 288 to 294. That was $2 to $5 higher, with some dress trade there on Thursday, higher on some better quality cattle. Your weighted average on dress steers, 290, 282. That was up over $5 in a very, very light test. Then on Friday, Northern Packers decided enough's enough. We're not taking less money again this week. But your Packers came to their milk. Iowa sold 7,300 on Friday, early before 2 o'clock, 9,300 for the week. Your live prices were $1 higher than last week, from 182 to 184. Dress sales were $1 to $6 higher, from 287 to 294. Nebraska sold 6,500 on Friday early, about 3,000 more than that for the week. Live prices 181 to 184. Dress sales 287 to 294. Kansas, they had sold some cattle, and they don't sell hardly any cattle in the Southern Plains anymore. They sell them negotiated grid, which is not a lot of negotiation going on with that. But they had sold 13,800 negotiated grid in Kansas and only 5,200 negotiated cash. So it's going to be going away here before long. Kansas sold only 500 on Friday, 181, and that was pretty much where they sold all the cattle in the Southern Plains last week. And that was steady with the previous week. Did have a few dress sales in Kansas at 288. Texas sold 800 head on Friday, 3,400 for the week, all at 181, like I said, which was steady. Box beef cutout values, your weighted average on all of last week's sales on the choice ended up with a weighted average of 307.24. That was down 356 for the week, and then it tailed off hard on Friday. So your latest quote on Friday afternoon was about another $2.50 cheaper than that at 304.91. Select weighted average last week ended at 295.94 on everything that was sold. That was down 216 compared to the previous week's weighted average. And late select cut sales on Friday afternoon were another $1.80 cheaper than that weighted average at 294.17. Your choice select spread on your weighted average was $11.30. All that based on 743 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Kind of a hard week on your beef. Pretty much everything was down cash prices according to USDA on your beef, except for cow meat. And it was sharply higher late in the week, guys. But talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states, ended the week at 240.98. That was down $2.48 for the week. And like I say, our cash feeders were cheaper for the most part, and our futures were sharply higher last week. But your weighted average on, or your CME cash feeder cattle index, 243.32 at the end of the week. And your trends in your sales on feeder cattle were $2 to $3 lower for the most part. Calves were $4 to $8 lower. And of course, a higher percentage of the offerings were calves, getting where you can't hear yourself think if you show up to the sale there right before they start. A lot of balling going on. A lot of the calves coming to town unweaned. If you give them a round of shots and bring them freshly unweaned, it's not too bad. If you wean them 1 to 2 weeks, that's the worst, guys. They don't want that at all. Talk about some of your sales late last week and over the weekend. Your National Beefwire stick-out sale was Burwell Livestock Market in Burwell, Nebraska. They've had DVAuction broadcasting for a long time. About 2,300 head for their Friday sale. And they had 565 head of 9-weight steers at Burwell, Nebraska. They averaged 953 with a weighted average price of 240.53. Had 601 head of 1,000 to 1050 weight steers, averaged 1012 at 235.22. On the heifers, had 187 head of 7-weight heifers, averaged 764. Weighted average price 239.87. 295 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 866 at 233.25, and 182 head of 9-weight heifers averaged 937 at 223.75. Check out this long drag in one draft of big heifers, 169 head of 1,005-pound heifers. Wow, at $220.10. Big price, big heifers, pretty impressive there, guys. Talk about some individual quotes from all around. How about Santa Teresa Livestock Auction, Santa Teresa, New Mexico? They sell the Mexican cattle just across the border. They're right on the border. Once they come to their sale, they are ready for you to purchase, and you don't have to jump through any more hoops to get them. Just send trucks. But they sold 64 feeder steers. They don't usually get steers this big at Santa Teresa Livestock Auction, but 64 feeder steers weigh 854 and bring 222. How about Stanton Union Stockyards in Stanton, Virginia? On Friday, they had a pretty big draft of heifer calves that sold pretty well, I thought. 73 heifer calves weighed 452 and bring $250. I thought that was impressive. How about Mankato Livestock in Mankato, Kansas? They had a big string of heifers there, 90 head of them, weighed 670 and bring $257. Wow, they must have been green. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day. I'm cheating just a little bit. It was a Thursday quote that I got late. Wasn't able to get it in. It come from Brian Curtis, world champion livestock auctioneer that sells at Fairview Sale Barn in Fairview, Illinois. It was array, post, and steers. 65 steers weighed 825 in Illinois and bring 255. Talk about farmer feeders. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.